Hey, what's going on, everyone? In this video, we are looking at the 7-game NBA preseason slate for tonight. Two more games than yesterday. I already have some players ruled out. Wasn't able to get a video out this morning, but thought I might as well get one out this afternoon, a couple hours before lock right now, so let's get into it. Hopefully, you guys are still playing DFS, or preseason DFS from yesterday. Yesterday was pretty wild with Thornton, Tucker, and Giles going nuts, but that's what happens sometimes in preseasons. These coaches, some of them are going to play their starters more than others. They're going to get incorrect reports from from media and beat writers, but I'm just happy that we have NBA back. So, although yesterday didn't win any money, I'm still looking forward to tonight and seeing what guys I think will do well. So let's get into it. As always, appreciate you guys to the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process. And let's get started. I also have an NFL video out later tonight, but wanted to get this one out first. So we have two of the best players in basketball in terms of fantasy points tonight. We have Giannis on the slate. You have Luka on the slate. You have a ton of good center options with Karl-Anthony Towns, Jokic, even Giannis is now center eligible on Draftkings. That is pretty crazy for tonight. But now you can play Giannis at center if you wanted to. You have Drummond there, so a lot of good spend ups. You have some good value plays. A couple of rookies making their debuts tonight. A couple of top rookies in LaMelo Ball. You also have Anthony Edwards. So it's going to be a lot to talk about for this one. So starting off here at point guard, you have Luka and Ja Morant and Steph Curry at the guys above 8K that I'm most interested in. Curry missed a lot of last season, almost all of last season. So he's a veteran. He's not going to probably play a ton of minutes in the first game. So I'm kind of looking at Morant and Doncic. Both guys are young. Morant's price tag is pretty high. So even though Luka will probably play a few less minutes just because he had some injury history last year, I still think Luka can get it done at 8,700. And there's plenty of value on the slate that we'll get to, plenty of good value, which it looks right now. So I will just be trying to focus on getting some of the studs in the lineup and then filling it out with some cheap value plays. So point guard besides Luka Doncic, you have D'Angelo Russell. The Timberwolves are looking pretty good. Their lineup looks pretty solid with Edwards and Towns. As long as Russell and Towns are healthy, that team is going to be able to be mediocre at best. But now that they added Anthony Edwards in the draft, they have Malik Beasley can shoot threes off the bench. I think that team can maybe compete for an 8th spot this year. But I'm not that interested in Russell. I'd rather go to Doncic. You have Donovan Mitchell, 7,300. He kind of opened people's eyes up in the postseason with just his monster games, especially against the Nuggets. Now, coming off of the bubble where he played just a ton of minutes, another guy that not sure he'll play a crazy amount. And then we have Victor Oladipo, who battled injuries all the past couple years, coming off of that really bad quad/knee injury that he suffered a couple years ago. They said they don't even know if he's going to play back-to-backs yet, so I don't think that he's going to play a lot in the preseason game, so I am not interested in him. Van Fleet looks somewhat appealing because Kyle Lowry isn't able to travel for the first 2 games, so you could look at Van Fleet at 66, but looking at some better options tonight, you have Ricky Rubio at 57 in his returning back to the Timberwolves where he spent a lot of his career, so he could look somewhat interesting. Jamal Murray is only 5,600. That also looks pretty good. He also had a huge postseason last year, opened up people's eyes. I think he looks like a decent play tonight. LaMelo Ball, 5,100. He's probably going to start off coming off the bench, but he could easily jump over Terry Rozier. Once they start, in a couple weeks or months, or maybe if he just comes out of the gates and starts firing. I like him a lot tonight at $5,100. He's going to get good minutes. Young guys are going to get minutes. Rookies are going to get a lot of minutes. So I see a lot of reason for them to see what they have in LaMelo Ball. Drafted him 3rd overall, so plenty of incentive for them to play LaMelo Ball quite a bit of minutes tonight. So starting it off with Luka and LaMelo Ball here. The team that you're probably going to get a lot of value from tonight is, right now, it's looking like OKC. It could be a different team, or it could be OKC and a different team if some other team ends up ruling out a bunch of players. But I was looking at their roster. No Horford tonight, no Baisley, no Dort, probably no Ariza, no Jackson, no Miller. So their lineup is going to be pretty, you're going to get a lot of guys that probably would not have starting tonight. And one of those guys is $4,000 rookie, if I can pronounce his name, Pokuveski is probably the best I can do with that pronunciation, but he was the youngest player selected in the draft. I drafted him in the first round. With all the injuries on the team right now, or with a lot of the guys out on the team that would be starting over him, I think good chance he ends up in the starting lineup tonight. And at $4,000, the guy can shoot threes. I think he's going to be a pretty good play tonight, at least at only $4,000. And then the other value play is like going to be Hamidou Diallo at 4,500. Now that with all the trades that they made, trading Schroeder, trading Chris Paul, he's going to be in the starting lineup for them this season. And 4,500 with just some of the other guys out tonight. I think he looks good. You also have SGA, who you could play at 5,900. I like him as well. But these two cheap guys, I think, look like great plays right now, just so you can fit in some of the expensive guys. At center, now that we can play Giannis at center, I think I might take a shot tonight against Dallas. They are going to be without Porzingis for a bit, so uh, doesn't have anybody that can stop him on the court or even be close to his size on the court on the Mavs side. So I think Giannis is going to be a good play. It's just the minutes between him and Doncic, but at least you kind of get both pieces in that game. They go back and forth if they happen to, both end up playing a little bit more than expected. Both guys are great point per minute players, so you're going to be, even if they only play 20 minutes, there's probably a good chance that they're going to be the highest scores on the slate. So feel good about going Luka and Giannis, and then filling it out with some value plays. And then the last guy that I like is Anthony Edwards. Get two rookies, two out of the top three rookies, and Ball and Edwards, 51 and 4,700. Both going to be playing quite a bit tonight. Edwards should be in the starting lineup tonight. Ball will probably come off the bench, but not worried about it at 5,100. And just looking at all the other studs on the slate, when you have Towns, missed a lot of games last season with a wrist injury. So I don't know if he'll play a lot tonight. You have Jokic. Also, I don't know if Mike Malone is also not a great coach for DFS, and coming off the bubble where they played a lot, I don't know if Jokic will play a bunch. So with the studs, it's Luka and Giannis for me. Other guys I would consider paying up for are like John Morant, but he's 8,500, so you're not going to be able to fit every guy above 8K, and I'd rather go Luka and Giannis. You could potentially look at like Drummond. I like him at 7,900. You could look at because you still have 7K left, so you can still pay up for a couple guys here left. But above 7K, I'm looking at like Drummond, who I like quite a bit at center. You have Donovan Mitchell, Siakam, some of those types of guys I like. Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. would be a great play, but he's 6,700 too, so you're gonna need him to have a good game. If he was cheap, a little bit cheaper, I'd like him a lot. And the Cavs are without a couple pieces, but I'm not that interested in the Cavs tonight at all. So that's pretty much it for the video. A couple guys that you could look at below 5K besides the ones that are already in this build here. If you wanted to go even cheaper, maybe like Malik Beasley, you could take a shot on him at 4,700. He can definitely light it up, but he's also coming off of a pretty eventful offseason where he did get arrested. So who knows if he's going to be in the doghouse, at least to start, or if there's a chance he even gets suspended for getting arrested. So keep an eye on that. But you have Chris Boucher, no more Marc Gasol, no more Serge Ibaka for the Raptors. You know, Boucher was always, not Rudy Gay, Boucher was always a popular pick whenever we had a chance of Marc Gasol sitting or Serge Ibaka being out. And this year he's going to have opportunity. They did bring in Aaron Baines, so still probably not going to be starting. But he could still get off the bench and take some of those Ibaka minutes. So I think he could be a decent value play. We know he can put up a lot of fantasy points in a few minutes. And then if you needed to go super cheap, I don't know if there's anybody else I'm really thrilled about in the 4K range. I already got my guys in Pokuveski and Diallo, the two guys that I like the most that are cheap. So let's go over to Fanduel. They already changed their pricing, but it's not going to make too much of a difference when we look at it. All right, so instead of having everybody at $100, you see they have some guys priced up. I think it's just so you can sort players easier with like talent level. Because as you see, the most expensive guys are $6,000, and you have 66,670 left. So even if you play everybody at $6,000, you'll still be under the salary cap. So still can play whoever you want on FanDuel. At point guard wise, Jamal Murray has 5K, Steph Curry has 5K. I think John Moran is probably the safest in terms of those three in terms of getting good minutes. He's $1,000 cheaper. Not that it matters, but people might just plug in the top two guys and just kind of move on. So I think Morant looks like the best point guard option at 4K. Shooting guard, you have Luka Doncic, so I'm just going to go ahead and plug in Luka Doncic at 6K. We know what he can do when he's given a full amount of minutes. We've also seen what he can do when he only plays like in the 20s, and even if he just happens to play like 20 to 25 minutes, good chance that he ends up being the highest scorer at this position. You have some other guys who can take a shot on, like an SGA, I think looks somewhat appealing now that he's the number one option on the team. Keep in mind, last year when he had his breakout season, there was still Chris Paul out there, Dennis Schroeder out there, but now SGA is the star on the team, and I say star pretty loosely, although I think he's a rising star, potentially can be a player, but he needs to improve some things. But I think he's a pretty good play tonight at just $4,000. You have Devin Booker at 5K, Mitchell at 5K. So on FanDuel, you just want to play the best guys like Russell is in play. I don't need to go crazy. Like, no way I'm touching Dylan Brooks or Clarkson or Harris on FanDuel. You just plugging in the best guys so you have the cap to do it. Small forward, Giannis. Now, I wish we could make a team like this in the regular season, but Giannis, Luka, you still have 7 plus. So, like, don't know what they really did with the price, with changing the pricing, because it did absolutely nothing. Other guys to look at small forward besides Giannis are Siakam. You could look at Gordon Hayward. Potentially look at see where Diallo is, just because I think you could look at him. He's $1,000, gonna get good minutes tonight. Instead of playing SGA, you could look at Diallo and be different that way. At power forward, nobody to really pay out for here. Sabonis coming off of missing a bunch of time last season. He probably won't get thrown into the fire right away. So I think I'll go back to my guy, Pokuveski at 2K. You have Michael Porter Jr. at 2K as well. But I definitely think the Thunder players a couple of them are going to have good games tonight with just everybody out, and the entire team is just so different. And then at center, you can pay up for Jokic and Towns. Two guys who we'll see how many minutes they play. You have Drummond in there who can outscore those guys, just with the double doubles that he gets against the Pacers, a team that he's done well against. You could look to Drummond, but I'll probably stay with one of the top guys at the center position. You don't think I really want to go with Gobert or Ayton. You could maybe look to like you could play Valanciunas, but don't know if you'll play a ton of veteran as well. Go with some young guys, but there's not a ton of young centers that are going to play a lot. So go with a guy that can get me a double-double in like 15 minutes. He's gotten that in like the first quarter a couple times last year against the Pacers. I think Drummond doesn't have to deal with Tristan Thompson taking some of his minutes. So if he gets 20, 25 minutes, you kind of feel good about it. He's a good defensive player as well and getting steals and blocks on FanDuel. So sign me up there. And these are the 5 guys I'm looking at on FanDuel. So that's it. On FanDuel, you play the best guys, the guys that have the best chance to put up fantasy points and move on. I know last night it was kind of crazy with Giles and like Thornton Tucker leading the slate, but that's what's going to happen in the first couple of games. But then by the time these teams are facing their last or second to last preseason game, you're probably going to see the starters play a lot more. So that's it for the video. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Best of luck tonight, and stay tuned for the NFL video.